Hi, everyone. I'm Betsy Sobiech, one of the Tiara Global leaders and coaches, and I am here today to take us through a Tiara tool on acceptance. In the Tiara model for true leadership, we have 6 dimensions that we cycle through to really support a practice of developing yourself as a true leader, a conscious leader. And we recommend starting with acceptance, which is not in many leadership models. And the reason why is we think starting with acceptance actually gives us um, a very honest relationship with how either we're trying to grow or the situation that we're trying to impact. And if we don't start with acceptance, if we start with resistance or denial or something else, we often may either perpetuate the problem in a way we don't know or overwork something that's not really clear, true, on point when we get to work on the things that are important to us. Um, I was resisting acceptance a little bit this morning when I was prepping to come here and be with you. There's a lot going on in the world in July 2022, which is when this is being recorded, that feels unacceptable, not tolerable. Whether it's political uprisings across the world in many countries, um, Supreme Court justice rulings, which I'll talk about in a minute, um, and personal things that my friends, my family are going through, gun violence in the United States right now. Anyway, so I had a moment of like, not sure I can do it in a way that feels authentic and true. And at Tiara, we've said for a long time that whenever we feel resistant to something or like it's the thing we don't want to do, it's often the exact thing we need to do. So I'm here with the Tiara Tool Acceptance Inquiry that you have either in a link that was sent to you, a link in this post, or in our Tiara Resource Library. If you're a member, and I hope you are, you can go to our Tiara Resource Library and at any time get this tool. Let me show you what the tool looks like. I will share my screen and it is right here. Okay, so when you open it, you can see that with all of Tiara work, we want you to choose a situation that is current and that you're facing and that you feel like aligns with where you want to grow. Also, if you're watching this about the time it's recorded mid-year, you may realize that you're stuck in terms of a goal that you had top priority at the beginning of the year. And you just need to really get accepting and clear on the current state and what's so before really digging into any further actions. So I am going to choose something political, which is not the norm for Tiara. And if you've watched any of my videos over time, probably not the norm for me. Here in the United States, the Supreme Court overturned the Roe versus Wade um, law, which protected women's abortion rights and reproductive rights. Um, it's something that's been in place for 50 years. It's something that women who came before me fought to put in place in order to protect women's choice, women's bodies, and to really put women in that role of equal status and equal partnering when it comes to reproduction. Also to protect women's lives when there might be a reason that they became pregnant that was not their choice, etc. So I get it's complex, and many of you watching this might have very different things that you're working with. Like it can be something very personal, it can be a situation at home with a friend at work. And I hope that you see you can believe anything you want about the law, about reproductive rights. So I'm going to work through this as an example as we go through today. It's not, you have your own example. So right now, pause this video and make sure that you clearly articulate the situation that you are working with while I, in parallel, work through my own situation, which is the overturning of Roe v. Wade. Go ahead and pause. Okay, welcome back. So whatever you wrote down, you might have already found like, oh, it was very easy for me to write, very easy for me to find. Or you might have found like, oh, what am I not accepting? Maybe it's not clear to you in this moment what you're resisting. Or maybe when you went to write it down, you felt like you stumbled over the words. Wherever you are, this is the first step in acceptance and naming, like, okay, I feel stuck. I feel trouble accepting this scenario, no matter what it is, right? And then on this handout, you can see that we want people to really understand what Tiara means by acceptance, which is nuanced. It's not what is on the right hand, my right hand side of this handout. Acceptance is not what we equate with tolerance, like tolerating something, being resigned, giving up, something that goes against your values. So we're not saying when we practice acceptance today, we're not saying that you're saying, oh, sure, no problem, it's fine, I'm good with it, right? It is not those things. It's not a feeling of sadness, resignation, weight, feeling like you're agreeing something that's taking a piece of you away. That's not acceptance. It's not just lip service. Whew. What we say acceptance actually is providing a space for compassion, understanding, ideas, maybe even humor, freedom, and other things. But specifically, it's providing a space for that, not necessarily fixing anything in this particular moment. And I just want to emphasize it's also not too soon going to like, sure, it's fine. It's nothing that feels like that kind of offhanded, I'm going to agree, or I'm going to say I'm accepting, or I have to accept it because everyone says I have to. Like, it's none of that. It's something much deeper, which hopefully we can get to together as we go forward. This picture is of a child's toy, a finger trap that demonstrates how when we don't actually lean in and get present to what's so in a situation in our life, we get more stuck. Or sometimes leaning in shows the way out of something. So that's what that metaphor is there. And then we have an inquiry. So in just a moment, we'll have you pause again to do this inquiry right now, either online, this is a fill inable form, or you can print it, or you can just do it, in your journal, which is what I'm going to do. And it's going to ask us these questions, right? So we want to start with the facts, like what is so without adding story. Um, and then what thoughts you have in response in the actual words that you hear them, how these thoughts make you feel, what you might be afraid of, being deeply honest, what do you admit about the situation, and by witnessing the facts, what has shifted within you. So please pause. I'm going to actually pause me recording, and I hope you pause the recording and take a moment to fill this out, and then we'll come back together and see what we've discovered. So go ahead and pause for as much as you need, and I'll see you back here. Okay, welcome back. I am going to share the questions, so we're both looking at them, and I will quickly use my example as we go through, but this is not just about me, and it's not about one issue. It's about you for yourself, seeing how you can fine tune or deepen or clarify your responses so you get where you're meant to get through this inquiry. And it's a tricky inquiry because it doesn't fix or solve anything. Yet sometimes there's something in creating this space of acceptance that's possible that we haven't seen before. So for me, the fact, first of all, it was very hard for me not to have a story just zoom right in there with the facts. But the facts for me are that the Roe v. Wade decision was overturned um, by this Supreme Court justice. That's the fact. The thought or inner dialogue that I had was all over. It's very ping-pongy, so it's helpful to really write down the thoughts word for word. But there were some themes around like not trusting the people in charge, the government right now, the country. There was also worrying about like people that I know who are closely impacted by this. But also there was like a thing of like a thought about women are in danger, I will just say, that I didn't really have articulated before this. for you, just making sure that you write down the thought like that you're having, not necessarily the theme, but this like thing of like women are now in danger. Like that's a thought that I could capture and write down. Whew, yeah, no wonder, right? I feel the way that I feel. Um, and again, it's just a thought. So we're not proving, we're not explaining, we're just capturing like there was a thing that happened, boop, and then you had like all these thoughts in reaction to the thing that happened. And then the thoughts make us feel a certain way. So the thought of women being in danger makes me feel sad, scared, like hiding, mad that all the work that's been done to this point, uh, you know, around women's rights in this country, that feel might be out the window. Whew. So feelings of anger, sadness, denial, frustration, fear. So not energized, not excited, but definitely like a bubbling up of all of those things. What I might be afraid of. So for that one, again, just make sure you're really, if you want to access an emotional wheel, if you search in the Google on emotional wheel, if you have trouble identifying feelings, you can get a picture of all the feelings, help you really name what you're feeling, which can be cathartic in and of itself. So then what might I be afraid of? Yeah, like I'm afraid for the next generation of women and what this means for freedom of choice and opportunity in this country. I'm afraid of people taking reproduction decisions in their own hands instead of being supported by doctors and the medical community and hurting themselves. Um, but I think the thing I'm really afraid of is uh, just what this means about, yeah, the status of women in our country and the direction that we're going in terms of our legal system and human rights across the board for people who are typically marginalized, not just women. So, what are you afraid of? You want to name it the fear. You want to name the fear, the anxiety, the worry that keeps you not accepting something fully, right? And then being deeply honest, what else do you now admit about the situation? So this is where I had a bit of an aha. Um, I think the thing that I've been feeling about the situation is helpless. Like, what can I do? Right? Like, I've worked for over 20 years in women's leadership development and women's empowerment in college. I have a women's studies degree. I did a bunch of different stuff back in the day. And it doesn't, like, it feels like what I do doesn't matter. And this is helpless. And I know that does not sound like an insight when I say it out loud to you right now. However, me seeing it and saying it, immediately what came in is like, but you know, you're never helpless, because I do believe in choice. And I do believe in being open to accepting what so is a temporary moment of time. And I do believe there's more access and community and determination across the world, not just in the country, than ever before. So if I move down to the last one, the witnessing of the facts of the situation has actually shifted me into a place of more determination and commitment to stay engaged and connected and involved, um, as opposed to checking out and just hoping or wishing that something happens in the future. So this for me was what I was thinking about. It's very honest. And again, I appreciate that we might not always share a political point of view, and you might have the same issue but come at it from a different point of view. And I also know that anything you can bring to this can be, like we said, family, it can be a work snarl, it can be something that happened this morning that you're processing. Yet the gift I hope you take from this is when you feel that resistance, that denial, that stuck, the depletion, the resignation, like anything that makes you feel in an area that's important to you that there's no hope, if you take a breath, you name it, and you go through this inquiry, that there's a moment where you feel like something, whether it's compassion for yourself, an understanding of the situation, or a point of view that was missing, that from there you can choose what you'd want to do next. So thank you for taking on what's tough for you. Thank you for being willing to explore a different way of bringing acceptance to your goals and to your life. And I look forward to those of you who will be on the True Leadership session this month, being in person together, in person via Zoom. And anyone can reach out to me at any time, uh, and via Tiara, the Tiara website. And thank you.